You suck! And I'm not just saying that, you really suck. You are the worst turkey ever. Oh, hi there. I was just practicing my turkey roasting skills. It's Thanksgiving this week, you know. We all have different ways to prepare for the holidays. Children wear corduroys, and adults throw parties. But what about people in neither category? In today's story, we follow George, a college student, not a boy, not a man, that's visiting his parents for Thanksgiving break. I was home for Thanksgiving break. It was nice. I enjoyed seeing my family, but it was tough. I'd only been home for a few days, and I was already wishing to be back at my dorm, just hanging out and in control. I thought I'd take a break from my parents and their rules, and enjoy some time alone in the woods where I could unwind. It got dark fast, but that's happened before while unwinding. But I wasn't completely sure how to get home. I didn't have a signal where I was, but the GPS was still working. My phone's battery was low, so I left the flashlight off. I had no idea where I was, and the woods were creepy, but I figured if I was careful, I wouldn't need the flashlight as much as I'd need the GPS. Eventually, I could see a light ahead. A campfire, with some hunters around it. I didn't want anyone to see me because I was still high. So I walked to the left of the campfire, far enough away that they wouldn't notice me, but close enough that I could still use the light coming from the campfire. As I walked by, a breeze carried a strange mix of smells to me. It was a terrible mix of savory herbs and spices, and shit. I turned around to see what the hunters were cooking. That's when I realized they were not hunters. I stood there paralyzed while my brain tried to process what was happening. Were they Satanists? Cannibals? Was this some kind of human sacrifice? I started to slowly back up when one of them looked up and saw me. I took off. I could hear movement behind me, like a scrambling, but I made it to my parents' house. I told my parents. They could immediately tell I was high. They suspected I was making the whole thing up, trying to change the focus from me being high to something else. Eventually, the sheriff's department was called. They sent someone out to where I thought I was in the woods, and to the house. Sheriff Joe was a family friend. He listened to what I said and didn't say a thing about my bloodshot eyes. Before leaving, he recommended we all get some rest. He was going to go talk with the deputy that was sent to the woods, and they would get this sorted. As comforting as Sheriff Joe's words were, I wasn't able to sleep. The next day, I stood in my room until I heard Sheriff Joe show up. When Joe saw me, he put on a big smile and said they found nothing. My mom chimed in that it was so great that I was mistaken. But I wasn't mistaken. I knew I wasn't. I'm not crazy! My mom immediately apologizes to Sheriff Joe. He said it was fine. He had to be on his way anyways. Now, no one wants to get in trouble with the cops, but trust me, being in trouble with my mom could be worse. Cops give you your ticket or your day in court, it's all the same to them. They don't care. My mom, however, did care, and she would talk about things until she was convinced that you cared too. The second Joe left, she started. She needed to tell me all about the dangers of the devil's lettuce. After last night's admission, I knew it was coming. This had to be the Thanksgiving break from hell. She went on and on about side effects and the dangers and a bunch of other stuff. I'm pretty sure she had no idea what she was talking about. More than likely, it was the first thing she found on Google. I was exhausted. When she brought up hallucinations, something about that word was freeing. I had a trip. A bad trip. It happens. Something got mixed into the batch my guy sold me. It was dark. I was high. This is all just a mistake. And the best part was, I could prove it to myself. Sheriff Joe said nothing was there. I'll go to where I was that night. I saw it on the GPS. I'll go see nothing's there and be free.
George.
Hmm?
Will you talk to Reverend Brown? I'd like you to talk to Reverend Brown.
This was it. My way out. I'll go talk to the Rev. Tell my mom it helped. That I've changed, and I'll be off the hook. My mom rushed me to the Rev's house. You'd think he'd have better things to do with it being so close to Thanksgiving. Like giving out turkeys or something. I guess he knew how persistent my mom could be too. My plan to get out of here quickly was simple. Go in, say I was wrong, that it was my first time, that I'll never do it again, and don't bring up any crazy ritual hallucinations. Things were going well. I was ahead of schedule. 15 minutes in, and I could already sense that let's pray and you can go vibe. I had to be cool. Just hold his hand, pray, and visit Sheriff Joe. Are you okay, George? Yes. Then, why are you holding your breath? Before I could even answer, the door opened, and the other two freaks I saw walked in. I had to do something, say something, anything. You guys are making a mistake. My family knows Sheriff Joe, and he'll...
When the sheriff brought your son in, he was acting violent and erratic. We performed a tox screen and found several Class A narcotics in his system. It's best you let him rest right now. The excitement of seeing you might trigger another outburst. We are doing all that we can, but right now, his brain scans look like he will never talk again. I'm so sorry.
While George was locked up, the cultist enjoyed a nice turkey meat dinner. I mean the country, not the bird. I'm sorry. That joke was foul. Please don't forget to like and comment. If you want to help keep the lights on here, consider joining us on Patreon. It really helps. You'll be happy to hear that George got out 3 weeks later. He said getting admitted right before Thanksgiving really helped him out. Eat quick cold turkey!